first semifinal, game number 1. Remember, these are best of 3s, and then into the finals, we'll be going into a best of 5 scenario. So we'll introduce our players here in just a moment, but let's see. Up here in the northwest corner, as the pink Terran, says NRG Princess, but you know him as MajOr.
And of course, his opponent in the bottom right-hand location, the green Zerg player ViBE, representing Team Root Gaming. You know, the WCS USA champion at the recent MLG Spring Championships, I think it was. But, you know, it should be interesting, man. We got an American in ROOT.ViBE, and we got MajOr, of course, representing Mexico. So, see how it goes.
Well, let's see as we have first thing starting out. I mean, let's talk a little bit about ViBE. Maybe you can shed some light on ViBE. I mean, he's obviously North American player. He's, you know, I mean, how would you classify his Zerg play?
It's interesting. I haven't had the chance to watch too much of it, but, you know, I feel like it's very strong because he's, if you think about the tournaments he's doing well in, if you think about, you know, the WCS North America, you know, he won that thing. To be able to win that thing, you're grinding a lot of games. You have to have really, really, really solid play. And you look at this tournament, too, you see him in the Final Four. There's a lot of best of ones in the beginning of this thing. So you have to have, again, you have to have really solid build orders, really solid play to get through just the best of ones. Just to get to the best of 3s, you have to have incredibly solid build orders. So, you know, it should be interesting to see. I expect him to play super safe in this game. And
it's a great point that you bring up, because I think a lot of people that tune into this portion of the tournament do think about that, you know, like, have this been best of 3s throughout the whole thing? But it should be stated that it is absolutely not, that those best of 1s can be some of the most, they could be some of the most difficult, you know, portions of the tournament. You know, we've got the situations where you're going up players who you may know very well, and they might know your weaknesses inside out. You go up against players that you may not have any idea about, and that can make it just that much more difficult. And we do have a scout here. Scout does make his way inside. It does see that there is no gas here for the Terran, so it's going to expect that CC to go down, and it does on the low ground here. Just outside the natural in Ohana. Over on the other side, we did have the hatch go down. The pool is about ready to complete up as well, or about ready to complete as well. And this is pretty much how I've seen MajOr opening in a lot of these games as of late.
Yeah, MajOr, I feel like he's one of those guys that'll put command centers down all the time. And honestly, I feel like these two players have a lot of respect for each other. So I don't necessarily think we're going to see any sort of crazy cheese play. But honestly, like, I feel like anything could happen at this stage in a tournament, especially when so much is on the line. Again, ViBE must win this entire tournament to qualify for TSL4. That's all he wants right now. That's all he has in his sights. So again, it should be a great series, and I'm super excited for it, man.
All right, well, we're starting to see how things are going to unfold here. Still no gas yet for ViBE, just continuing to pump out queens. He's got one at his nat and one inside his main. Overlord just peeking just outside the natural here. Definitely seeing this command center go up. And no information as of yet inside, but MajOr has taken both gases and throws down a quick factory. Follows up with a reactor as well. Again, pretty typical opening here for MajOr thus far. As far as ViBE is concerned, though, still no gas. There he finally takes one inside his main. Might see him take another one here at his natural, but he's got queens out defending. And again, this queen-heavy style, we see it a lot in the Zergs, thanks to a little buff and a little patch that happened not too long ago.
Yeah, it's been the story of recent ways. Oh, Zerg is overpowered, blah, blah, blah. As we see some Marines targeting down this Overlord. Can't get to the high ground in time. Oh, no, it's going to be taken out. That's no good at all. You never want that to happen. MajOr getting those 3 Marines across the map. I mean, obviously, ViBE didn't see that until the last second, or that Overlord would have been completely safe. But really cool play there from MajOr, able to get those 3 Marines out across the field, and they're going to return home nice and safe with an Overlord kill under their belt.
You know, the other nice thing is that some Lings did get inside the natural here. They've chased away the mules, so one of them did go back at least to the main patch, but making that kind of ineffective. I suppose you could say that's kind of a trade, an Overlord for 2 mules worth of mining, but out come the Hellions, and he'll get rid of this force. Additionally, MajOr did not have his command center rallied, actually, at the natural, so there's a couple idle SCVs as well, but he's all since fixed that. Actually, no, he still doesn't have it rallied. He's playing it Brood War style, but there he goes. And over on the other side, Overlord's still trying to get out, but what do you think? Was it a fair trade? The Hellions are out.
Dude,
they've got some map control. It is, right?
Oh man, I mean, you talk about the overload, then you talk about the mules. I think the mules is a bigger deal there, honestly. But ViBE has 4 of his queens out. You know, it's pretty standard play, you know, in the current metagame. Going to use those 2 queens to push out the creep, try to get rid of these Hellions. And it's up to the Terran nowadays that really try to figure out a way to deny this creep spread. That's like, again, one of the big problems that has been occurring in the TVZ matchup. How, as a Terran player, do I deny this creep? And we see MajOr going for Cloak Banshees.
Yeah, he is going for Cloak Banshees off of that Starport Tech Lab, and you know we don't see it too often. A lot of the pro players like to debate about it, but afterwards, you know, seeing that Raven come out before you make that switch is one way that you can get, you know, through, and especially on Ohana where a lot of that creep highway goes right down through the middle. Ravens can hide up there on the cliffs as well. I feel like we're going to start seeing it more and more, but this transition, or at least this path that he's taken, is going to allow him to potentially go into that. We do have more Hellions heading on out. He's now up to a total of 6, and here comes the Banshee, and you know what? Cloak's not done yet, but he does not care. The Hellions know that they can bully these queens, and so far no damage done yet on top of those, on top of that Banshee, but I think the thing is that if he holds this off, he's going to be able to react inside his base. Do we have any spores going down yet? We don't, and that's partially because he hasn't seen Cloak, but now the Cloak has been put down, and a spore immediately drops inside the natural and inside the main.
Yeah, MajOr doing a pretty good job here, getting quite a bit of damage done. Cloak Banshee's still trying to target down those queens. They're running for their lives, trying to get in range of a Spore Crawler, but they're running out of real estate, and now the Banshee has to make a decision. Do I target down the queens, or do I go after Jones? It looks like he might get 2 queen kills if he really tries, but no, going to kill 1 and back away. Nice play there from MajOr.
Yeah, it does at least get something out of that, and he keeps it alive, which is always a good thing. I mean, he knows now as well that those mineral lines are going to be a little bit tougher to combat. But in the meantime, ROOT.ViBE did get that 3rd base down, back inside the base of Princess. It looks like he's making a transition over to mech as we have 2 additional factories going down. Vikings coming out right now inside that starport, or from the starport. And what is he going to? He's going to switch over to the tech lab, but we still have Hellions being produced. Could see Blue Flame next. He's clearing it out with the Banshees and those Hellions. So far, he's doing exactly what he needs to do, keeping that the creep confined to the front of his opponent's base. And here come the Lings, though.
Oh, getting a nice surround in the middle line, but is that going to be enough? There's so many Hellions here. Sure, they can't move, but they're just flamethrowing away at those Zerglings. Looks like 4 are going to get out alive, getting plenty of Lings killed, and 8 more in the production tab for ViBE. Cloak Banshee still trying to do damage from above. Looks like it might get killed relatively soon here, but no, MajOr too good for that. Going to back it away. MajOr playing this really well. Also, keep in mind, he put 2 armories on the field. He's researching +1 vehicle plating and +1 vehicle weapons at the same time. Very fast upgrades. These Blue Flame Hellions are going to come out fairly soon. Are going to be incredibly strong.
Yeah, and so far, all we're seeing is the Ling production come out. I mean, taking a little survey inside the base, yes, there are Banelings. We have the 1 Evo chamber down, but other than that, the tech is pretty stagnant. Lair has been hit. Here we have the Infestation Pit finally coming out. But beyond that, I mean, the Lings are going to be relatively useless once these Blue Flame Hellions actually hit the field, and those numbers just continue to climb. One of the factories going to the Blue Flames, the other one, frankly, just going to these Thors, which are going to be a big problem. And the pulling of the SCVs. This is just going to be a run with this. God. This is going to be a situation
where... Those have to be transferring, right?
No, are they? Was he going to go for it? You're right. They're transferring.
That's a really weird timing, MajOr.
You're right. You're right. And you know what? I'm actually a dick for thinking that MajOr would actually do it at that timing. So, but it might actually work. I mean, Blue Flame is going to finish, but here come the Banelings. So ViBE setting up for a little attack of his own. Oh, is he going to get spotted?
He is.
Oh my God!
I don't think ViBE has any idea. Like, he would not still be going for this Ling play if he knew his opponent was going this heavy into mech. He'd have a Roachhorn down already. So I feel like some misscouting here for ViBE a little bit, but getting some Lings into the main base, and he should be able to identify what's going on here. I mean, Blue Flame Hellions everywhere. He sees the Thor. He can probably click on them and see they're upgraded 1-1 already, but still, I don't see a Roachhorn going down on the field, which I kind of feel might be a little bit essential when you're playing against mech.
Oh, and here come the Banelings rolling in here, and they do manage to get a couple of decent hits, but frankly, just not enough. But the reinforcing Lings, are they going to be able to help out? The Blue Flame is doing a considerable amount of damage, and at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of Lings have gone towards the destruction of not a whole lot. Well, 24 workers were killed So let me retract that statement because that's pretty great. A lot of the Hellions did fall, I think, kind of combating those Hellions. The Thors remain alive. Right now, unfortunately, there's some tanks, a Thor, and another Hellion stuck inside. So the big question is, you know, can he get enough Lings? Can he control his Infestors to be able to deal with the Thors right now? And, you know, what does he do beyond that? The Roach Horn has been put down, so he can help soften up. And, yeah, so, I mean, actually, well done there by ViBE. I mean, he still got some good damage done.
Yeah, it's interesting because MajOr's still ahead in supply, 126 to 104, and he has 3 orbital commands. Oh, I love the corruption, or not the corruption, the contaminate onto that 3rd orbital command. That's pretty cute. But we have some Hellions coming forward here from MajOr, trying to identify, okay, the progress of this 4th, taking down some Lings here and there. Finally, we have 10 Roaches in production here from ViBE, identifying the fact, okay, my opponent is going mech. But now I feel like MajOr is just going to try to keep denying the 4th base of his opponent. I mean, the map is Ohana, so the 4th base is kind of close to your opponent, so it might be hard to take for ViBE for the near future. We'll have to see if MajOr can try to deny that and keep that from going up.
I agree, and he already got the hatchery down to half, and I think most players will agree that, you know, that can be a very, very difficult expansion to hold on to, especially just based off of the paths in which you can attack from. But you also have to be very careful because, of course, the surround can be inevitable in those particular situations, and I would not be surprised to see ViBE actually take that east expansion as well.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes just to be able to flip-flop back and forth in case it does go down. I haven't seen a drone head off over in that way quite yet, but I feel like ViBE is in a much safer position than he was after that initial attack. He's going Hive. He's getting his Neural Parasite, which I love as well. We'll have to see how that will work out in the grand scheme of things. And so far we sit here right about even supplies still, 169, 173.
Yeah, it's interesting. I really love your point about taking the 2 hatches on the left and right-hand side. I mean, in order to play against mech, a lot of people will like instantly take 2 hatches because mech isn't terribly mobile as far as Thors and tanks are concerned. So a lot of Zerg players will take 2 different bases on opposite sides of the map and then, you know, inevitably sacrifice one of them so they can just fall back on the other one. That's like one strategy some Zerg players like to use. But again, the problem here is Princess is on 3 bases. ViBE doesn't really have a way of like stunting the economy, the macro of MajOr. And if you can't do that when your opponent is going mech and they already have 2-2 almost done on the Thors, it's going to start getting
scary,
incredibly terrifying, man.
That is scary. I mean, the upgrades right now, as we look on the Zerg, are 2-0 on the Roaches, and then I think our Lings are at 2-2. So, you know, looking good as far as that's concerned. Adrenal Glands 3-3 going to help a ton, and the Ultras are coming out. However, there's a lot of supply of Roaches here as well, and inevitably these Roaches are going to have to do something right now, just kind of stopping these Hellions from doing a little bit of damage. But you know, considering that supply, getting the Ultras out, he only has about 10 free supply. He's got his Greater Spire building, so I'm curious to see exactly what he's going to do with these Roaches, how he's going to sort of free up this supply. Maybe he's just going to also drop a bunch of Spines, but still no base over on the other side, and I think that would be my biggest concern is would he be able to reinforce off of this if he completely lost this army. And see, we have MajOr is moving out into the middle of the map.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, ViBE right now is looking for a cost-efficient trade. That's all he wants right now. MajOr proceeding forward here. ViBE trying to get a good concave Infestors in the back. Getting a nice fungal onto those Hellions. Now charging forward with the Roaches. Getting a decent concave on this army. And this isn't bad at all. Backing away immediately. Getting out of those siege tank shots. But keep in mind, this mech army is 2-2, and that's incredibly hard to deal with at this point. ViBE scrambling, trying to get some Corruptors on the field and Broodlords. And this base, it's gonna be hard to defend, man. And look at that.
Yeah,
now he's
it
putting
is.
That hatchery down in the middle right.
It is, and you know what? He actually just goes ahead and repositions. The army is going to try to go in all the way from the back, and this is how he's going to get rid of the Roaches right here. But it looks like MajOr caught wind of this. He's heading back right now while these 2 tanks take out the hatchery on the west wing. Now, the east wing hatchery did go down, but it is not that big. The Roaches do go in, and I'll tell you what, Axel, he definitely frees up some supply. Suddenly, we see ViBE drop to 147. However, he's been working on his upgrade. He's going to have Ultras out. The Broodlords are morphing already, but it's the Hellions inside. Oh my God, so much damage.
God, there's so much I want to talk about in like the last 45 seconds that just happened. MajOr playing incredibly well. The Hellions finally going to get dealt with, but let's talk about that engagement really quick while we have a little bit of downtime here. if you remember, MajOr was attacking towards that 4th base on the left-hand side. Then he realized, okay, where is ViBE's army? He's probably counterattacking me. So he left 2 tanks there to take care of the hatchery, which is brilliant. You don't need your entire army there. Just left 2 tanks there. All right, you guys, that's your job. You take care of that. Then he took the rest of his army, backed them all up, and then defended against the counterattack while taking his Hellions and sending his Hellions after the economy of his opponent. So doing 3 different things within like seconds of each other. Great decision-making from MajOr and ViBE. He's going to be hurting right now, man. I mean, he's just now getting that base in the middle right up, his income. He's had 72 harvesters, but I feel like he's been making some drones recently. But MajOr, I feel like he's in a great position, especially getting that base up in the middle left.
He definitely made quite a few drones, which probably wasn't, put him in a terrible position. He's at 38-24, considering that, coming out of the production tab are those Corruptors, are those Broodlords. But we have more Hellions going into this base, and it just went up, and a ton of drones were transferred over there, and he is going to get quite a few more, up to 48. Oh my God, 54. That is going to be the cap of what he gets from this attack, but I'll tell you what, 54 drones after he just made a bunch. Well, he's back down to 51, so that larva doesn't come so easily. And the additional hatch has been put up, Axel, but, that's rough. He's just working from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but one of them not quite built yet.
And in the meantime, MajOr's building up this, like, death army. I mean, look at his army. So many Thors, so many Vikings in the air. He has a Raven mixed in, which is awesome, and tanks in there, too. And now he wants to push. Now the SCVs are coming, but those are to repair. Incredibly important utility. And this mech army is 3-3. I don't know how ViBE is going to engage this. I can't think of a way. This is so scary to deal with.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure quite either. Inside the base of MajOr, he also did have a switch over to the tech lab back on his starport, so I'll be curious to see exactly what his next plan is. But I mean, MajOr just has this one. He's holding on quite well. Another push into this base that has just finished up. The Thor count is absolutely ridiculous, up to 8 Thors. That alone is going to be tough to deal with these Broodlords, and with the Vikings coming in as well. This might be all he needs. More Ravens out to help clear that creep.
It's a good fungal, but how do you deal with this? Like, honestly, if we look at the units lost tab, like, I doubt MajOr loses much in this engagement, because this army is so strong. We see Hunter Seeker missiles even being placed down. MajOr's gonna stay max the rest of this game, I feel like, and ViBE scrambling for resources, trying to get ultras on the field. But again, how do you kill an army as strong as this? I don't know how you do it.
I mean, unless we see MajOr make some sort of a absolutely dumbfounding mistake, I just don't think you can. The number of Viking counts, the Viking count's just way too high. Of course, the SCV's coming in here, and the fungals were key, but did he have everything else he needed? Here comes ultras for a last push. Are these tanks siege up as well? Out come a few fungals. There is a great fungal on top of all that stuff, but again, the upgrades on these Thors, the fact that they're getting repaired, a Zerg massacre here today.
Just like have the units lost tab up and just look at that, and you can kind of have an idea of what's going on. ViBE's entire army melting, and there's the GG spectacular